Hello my friends, and welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be doing an overview of the latest release of komorebi, the tiling window manager for Windows, which is written in the Rust programming language. As always, you can go over to the releases page to get the full changelog of all of the bug fixes, all of the features. These all come with the commit hashes, so you can take a look at the technical implementations as well. But in these overview videos, if this is your first one, in these overview videos, I tend to focus on a couple of features that I think will be most interesting for the end user. So the latest release is version 0.1.30, and a lot went into this, really a lot went into this. I have a whole list of things that I made for myself so that I don't forget anything. Okay, so we are gonna start with floating windows. So I believe that most of you will be familiar with floating windows already. The way that works is you press Alt and T, you get a floating window, you can move it around, and then you can press Alt and T again to reintegrate that into the layout. So what is different? We already had floating windows. What is different? So let me open up the configuration file. I've started using Z, by the way. It's a custom build that deals with some Windows issues, but pretty nice. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that. So we now have a new section. I'm not sure if I'm using it. I am. Okay. We have a new section here called floating applications. And what this does is subtly different from ignore rules. When you have an ignore rule, that application window that is ignored, it's completely ignored by komorebi. So komorebi doesn't put it on any particular workspace. It doesn't put it, it doesn't track when you change workspaces. It just always kind of stays there in the background. In some cases, that is the behavior that you want, but not in all cases. So that's where the new floating applications rules come in. So we have some docs here. Identify applications which should be managed as floating windows. So first cool thing about this is that if something is automatically managed as a floating window when it starts and you want to bring it into the tiling layout, you can do that really easily with Alt and T. You cannot do that with ignored windows because they're ignored, right? They're not going to respond to Alt and T. This also means that you can add workspace rules to floating windows. And so the way this works is, for example, if I wanted explorer.exe to always be floating, right? I have this floating rule for that, but then I can come into the workspace that I'm interested in. Let's say I always want this to be on my personal workspace. I can add workspace rules, and I can pretty much just copy paste that, right? Because it's the exact same rule. So once I have done this, the end result will be that Explorer is always floating, and it will always be on the personal workspace. A little change that I think is going to help the ergonomics for a lot of people. The other thing with floating windows is that they have their own border color. So mine right now are just derived from the theme that I am using. I haven't overridden it actually, but if you also want to add your own border color for that, you can. So there is now a floating window option under border colors. You can set it to whatever you want. I think that is it for floating windows. Just double checking my notes. Yeah, that is it for floating windows. Very cool. I am very happy with that. The next thing thing is related to transparency. So we've had transparency for a while. Let me turn this on for a second. I don't usually have it on, but the transparency feature, what that does is, let me remove this, the workspace rule. So what transparency does is it adds some transparency to the non-focused windows, but this is not always what you want. And people have asked me, hey, Jeezy, I would really like to conditionally disable this transparency feature when I'm watching, for example, a YouTube video. I don't want it to be transparent. Or, for example, if I'm watching a movie or something on VLC or MPV. So I have this handy little rule now in my own configuration. I add transparency ignore rules, individual window transparency ignore rules. And I say if any window has YouTube in the title, if it contains YouTube in the title, let's not apply transparency to that. So I'm gonna try this out. So I have gone to youtube.com, and you can see we still have the transparency here on PowerShell. Our editor window here is focused, but because we have a window with YouTube in the title here, that is not going to be transparent. And if I switch back to GitHub, for example, then the transparency effect comes back on. So I hope this will help people. This had so many requests. I was a little bit stubborn, I didn't implement it for a while, but now it is implemented, and I hope you all enjoy it. Still sticking in the configuration file for now. The next thing is, it's like an under the hood thing. We're going back to our workspace rules. So maybe you didn't know this, but workspace rules were kind of broken for a long time. They weren't broken, they weren't as robust as other kind of rules. And that was because the matching strategy was never getting applied properly. It would always do some kind of weird legacy matching lookup, and people would go to all of the various places where you can input rules, like the schema is the same, and they would try and use the full range of matches. So right, you have contains, does not contain, does not end with, does not equal, all of these. And people would try constructing workspace rules with this, right? They would be here trying to construct workspace rules, and it wouldn't apply them in that way. And also, we couldn't have composite rules here either, which is, maybe I have an example here. Here's an example of a composite rule. So this one says if the executable equals Unreal Editor.exe, and if the title equals open asset, then this should be a floating application. So we couldn't apply the same sort of granularity of composite rules here before. But now you can apply the full range of matches, and you can compose these rules when you are making your workspace rules. I'm very happy with this. This was something that bugged me for a really long time. I just couldn't get my head around how to implement it. There was some data structure changes that were needed, and it took me a while. I just needed to sit with it for a bit, I guess, and then I came up with a solution, and now it works. So I'm very happy with that. Let's see, what's next on my notes? The komorebi bar. I'm still using it. I'm still enjoying it. I hope you are also using and enjoying it. So we now have on the komorebi bar a CPU widget. Very cool. This was contributed by CT-Byte, I want to say. Let's see. Let's validate that. Yes, it was. Thank you to CT-Byte, who has been doing a great deal of work on the bar. It makes me very happy to see people get excited about contributing and adding things. I think this is also a really good commit, for you to look at if you would like to implement your own widget for the bar. It's really self-contained. It hits all of the main code paths that you need to implement to have a new widget. So do check that out. That is very cool. We have some under the hood changes, so better handling for mixed DPI setups. There were some issues people had with the bar being cut off in the middle and they had to manually resize it. That is largely fixed now, I believe. And the other thing that was very highly requested was, how do I have multiple bars on multiple monitors? I am not a multiple bars on multiple monitors kind of guy. I only like having my status bar on my primary monitor. However, I have listened to the will of the people, and you can now have as many bars as you want on as many monitors as you want. The way to do that is you head over here to bar configurations, komorebi status bar configuration files for multiple instances on different monitors. And so this bit is important. You're not running one instance of komorebi bar across multiple desktops. Each desktop monitor has its own instance, and that's why you have to have multiple configuration files. And let's see, maybe I can do something like this. Yes, I can. So we can take a look at my bar configuration here. Here is my configuration for monitor number 1, or monitor index 0 as it is. So for monitor index 0, these are my offsets, these are my widgets. And then for komorebi.bar.2, it can be any name really, you just need to reference them in the bar configurations config option. You set the monitor index that you want to target. Usually you're going to want to have different widgets. I only am able to have a second display on an iPad, so I disable a whole bunch of widgets because it's like this tiny. Yeah, that's how you do that. That is how you get more than one bar, and then you just run komorebi c start help, and you pass the bar flag. And if you pass the bar flag and you have multiple bar configurations here, it's going to try and load multiple instances of the komorebi bar with these configuration files that you've given. So give that a try. If you were waiting impatiently for the ability to have multiple bars, it is here now. I would say try out a more minimalist approach. It is nice to have just a single bar. Maybe that's just me. Let's see, where are we at now? Well, since we're here, you may have noticed that we also now have a applications.json file. So we have had some changes. A lot of people have remarked that the application specific, can I even spell? The application specific configuration repo was a bit hard to work with. So I went ahead and added a full README. We now have version 1 and version 2 of the application specific configuration schema. It is the default format from version 0.1.30 onwards, and it's just better, right? So you can set the full range of rules in this file. Now you can set ignore rules, manage rules, floating rules, transparency ignore rules, tray and multi-window application rules, layered application rules, object name change application rules, and slow application rules. So it is significantly better. And what I really, really like about this is that instead of having this slightly different format, I mean, the schema is largely the same in terms of the matches, but if you're used to writing rules here, usually what people do is they'll test out rules in their own komorebi.json config first. Then when they're happy for it, they'll submit a PR here. You can't copy paste from JSON to YAML, like you have to do some sort of conversion. But now, if for example, I wanted this composite rule, I think this is already here in Unreal Editor. Oh, it is not. I need to add that. Is this an ignore rule? What kind of rule is that? That is a floating application rule. So I'll show you in real time how much easier this is. So I come here, I say I want to add a floating application rule, and then I can just paste this, right? And it's exactly the same, and it just works. Much better, much better. I am a huge fan of this. I hope you will also be huge fans of this. So that is version 2 of the application specific schema. You can always get the latest version by doing komorebi c fetch asc. As of this new version of komorebi, version 0.1.30, it will now download the applications.json file, and you can just go ahead and copy paste this into your komorebi.json configuration file here, so you're referencing the latest version. So a little bit under the hood, but very exciting. And we have like a full README of frequently asked questions as well. When should you use a floating rule versus an ignore rule? I want to add different rules for various applications. Do not edit the applications.json file. Edit your komorebi.json file first, because the applications.json file is not hot reloaded. You'll be making changes and you won't be seeing them applied. So always make your changes first to your own personal komorebi.json config file. Then when you're happy with it, submit a PR, and we'll talk about getting it added to this this central place to document all tweaks required for komorebi to just work with as many applications as possible. That's a bit of a mouthful. Should change that. I should change that. What else? What else was new in this release? 2 more under the hood things, but I think some people might appreciate this. You may notice now that we have aarch64 builds that are published as part of the releases. This is very cool because the new Surface Pro laptops, they are powered by ARM processors. I haven't actually used one. I don't know what it's like running x86 64 binaries on Windows ARM laptops or machines, but it's nice to run native code, and now this is compiled for you natively so that it runs on your ARM laptops and machines. These builds are also on winget and on Scoop, so it should just work, right? Like if you're using an ARM Windows machine and you do winget install komorebi or Scoop install komorebi, it should look up your system architecture and it will hopefully download the correct architecture for you. I haven't had any complaints about this yet, so hopefully everything is working as expected on winget and Scoop. If it's not, open an issue and let me know. Otherwise, you can always grab the compiled binaries here. And these, by the way, are also available on the nightly builds. So I haven't spoken about nightly builds yet, but we do have nightly builds now. They're not actually nightly, they get published every Saturday, and that's because it takes like 3-4 days for winget to update the hash. So like it's a pretty long feedback cycle, but every weekend the latest and greatest features and bug fixes in komorebi are published under komorebi nightly, and a lot of cool stuff coming up. I'll talk about that later, but we do have nightly builds now. I wanted to point that out. Interestingly, since we were talking about architectures, somebody emailed me. Somebody sent me an actual email, and they were like, I am getting an error when I try and build komorebi on 32-bit Windows. Here it is. And I was like, who is running komorebi on 32-bit Windows? Who is building komorebi from source on 32-bit Windows? Somebody is, and now if you would like to do that, you can build without issue on 32-bit Windows. So that's nice. That's nice. What else do we have? A bit more of an ecosystem thing, but we now have our own awesome list. Where is the awesome list? Awesome komorebi. So I have been sharing every komorebi related project that I come across on Discord, on Mastodon, on Twitter, etc., etc. Somebody recommended on the Discord actually that, we should have a central place for projects, and I thought, why not make an awesome list? I think it's a really nice place for people new to the ecosystem to come and, just have a look around and find stuff that maybe they're interested in. So we have a couple of different sections right now. We have tutorials and videos. I'm not going to put my own tutorials and videos here. This is a space for, if you make a YouTube video about your use of komorebi, you can put it here. Hopefully that gets you some more eyes on your video, as well as some more subscribers. I do like to give back to the community, so that would be very nice, mutually beneficial for everybody involved. We have a status bar section. We have a tray indicators section. There are a lot of status bars and tray indicators. Hotkey daemons, integrations. Somebody made an Emacs package for managing komorebi. That is insane. That is actually insane. They made the whole I don't even know, man. I don't even know, but hats off to this person. I appreciate that. Just a bunch of really cool stuff, right? And I have put out a call for people to add their own configurations here, their own dot files here, if you are using komorebi. I think it is really helpful so I'll talk from my own perspective, right? If I'm using a new piece of software, or, if I try out a new tiling window manager on a different platform, like on Linux or on Mac OS, it's really helpful for me to be able to just go and look through other people's dot files and take what I want. And, because you don't always want to go and look through the official docs. You want to sometimes just kind of get a feel for what a good configuration is based on people right? If you share taste in configuration with other people, and you find their dot files here, I think it can only help. So please do contribute with links to your own configurations down here. I've saved, I think, the best new feature for last, and this is a joint feature. It's more of an integration. Okay, it's more of an integration. Let's say that it's more of an integration. So let me first just turn off transparency, because it is kind of annoying me now. So this feature, it has two dependencies, and people have been waiting for this for a long time. But now we have altsnap version 1.64. Go and grab this, because altsnap, who has been a prolific contributor to komorebi and other projects, he submitted this PR, which, do I want to get into it? Basically, he just made altsnap work with komorebi, and it's really good. So if you have altsnap 1.64 and komorebi 0.1.30, then you can hold down Alt and move. What about that? And everything else just kind of works. So you hold down Alt and you left click to move, and you hold down Alt and right click anywhere to resize. This is very nice. I can't believe I lived without this. So the thing is, right, like you can go and grab the title bar and you can do that, but why grab the title bar when you can just hold Alt and click anywhere? And you can click anywhere. So cool. I'm a very big fan of this. I think there are probably a couple of rough edges around, but like for daily use, it's really good. I'm very happy with it. So thank you to everybody involved. There were 2 very long-running issues, one on the altsnap issue tracker and one on the komorebi issue tracker. Both of those have now been closed, and I hope that you all enjoy this feature as much as I do. Makes me very, very happy. Oh man, that's a big release. That is a very big release. That's crazy. We have a couple of things coming up, so why don't I go back to the nightly release, just to encourage you to, try out the bleeding edge a little bit. So in this nightly release, we have a fix here from altsnap, which I know we've had this really strange, very difficult to reproduce bug related to timing stuck sockets, maybe related to the UDS implementation on Windows, but the solution to everything seems to be spawning more threads. So we spawn more threads, and now the command socket will not randomly lock up anymore. I've not actually been able to reproduce this for months, but there are some people who can reproduce it very consistently. I don't know. It's very hard dealing with things that you can't reproduce yourself, but Alex managed to reproduce this a couple of times, put that thinking cap on, and came up with this. It works very well. A couple of people who were seeing this issue more frequently have replied in the relevant issues that they're not seeing it anymore as a result of this commit, so do try that out. You may have noticed that I have gone back to using these borders, the rounded borders, right? So usually I was using squared borders because we didn't have anti-aliasing, but now we have anti-aliasing. So I can look at the rounded borders again. I didn't actually notice it at first. I was like, I don't see anything, but somebody posted a really zoomed in picture of what like the jagged edges looked like, and once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. That was frustrating. But so there's a little bit of a story here, and I do want to give credit where credit is due. Tacky borders GitHub. There we go. So that's the issue. How do I get to the tacky borders? I do not like that is not searchable. I will put the link in the description. So basically, let me head back. Oh, it's not here. It's still on master. This is going to be on the next one. So basically, LukeU, there he is. LukeU05, tacky borders. So LukeU has been working on using Direct 2D to draw borders. Excellent project. It works across pretty much any window manager without a window manager. Really cool. LukeU was working on just having nicely rounded borders. You need Direct 2D to do that. It's a bit of a pain in the butt to make work with Rust the way the Windows RS API works. But, Luke did all of the heavy lifting, and then he shared this on the komorebi Discord. And I mentioned in here that, he did a lot of the heavy lifting, and provided an incredible amount of guidance and feedback on the implementation of this feature on the komorebi Discord. So thank you so much, Luke. You have made a lot of people, myself included, very happy. You will be able to try this out on the next nightly build of komorebi. So we've just taken the same implementation strategy and put it inside komorebi. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. We also have, I didn't know I wanted this, right? I'm going to say I didn't know I wanted this. So usually when you have a stack of windows, you can go backwards and forwards, right? That's what I'm doing now. Go backwards, go forwards, go backwards. But what if you want to rearrange the order of windows in your stack? Well, now you can do that. So I just moved PowerShell to position 2. Now I'm moving it to position 3. Now I can move it back to the start. That is really cool. I am very, very happy with that. So let me, there it is. I just need to remember the name. Yep. The name of that command is cycle stack index, and I have that bound to alt-shift and open brace and close brace. I think that's a nice binding. Play around with the binding, see what you like. And the other thing, like, somebody really wanted this. I realized after I implemented it that I wanted it as well. So usually you have your workspaces defined declaratively, but you can also open workspaces on the fly like this. And sometimes you just want them for a little bit. It's kind of annoying, right? Because, like, if you look now, you have your named workspaces, personal, chat, editing, and then you have 4. Like, what the hell is 4, right? But now you have a close workspace command, and it takes it away. So especially if you're using a status bar, if you find this annoying, you can now run the komorebi C close workspace command. Very cool. Very, very cool. Finally, I want to go back very quickly to the user CTByte. So this user has been playing around with a whole bunch of different styling for the komorebi bar. So I'm gonna open these up in separate tabs so we can go and take a look at all of the cool stuff. So this is like the default style, very nice. This is another style. This is another style. And this is another style. So, they've been working on getting this all together, getting this out. And I was supposed to build this and try it out yesterday. I gave a whole bunch of feedback, but I think, oh, wow, that's beautiful. That is, when I use this theme, the icons are not the same on the network widget. Damn. But this looks beautiful, nevertheless. So I'm hoping to get this into the next nightly as well. I'm gonna build this and play around with it a little bit. It looks super cool, and I'm very excited for it. And one of the greatest contributors in the history of this project, the Arturka, has come back with yet another animations PR. I haven't tried this out yet, but it looks like a banger. It looks so good. There aren't any videos here, but I've seen some videos of people using this PR, and it's just so good. If you thought the animations were already good, the animations are about to get a whole lot better. And I think that's enough for now. Yeah, I think that's enough for now. So before we wrap this on up, as always, I'm going to say thank you to all of the lovely sponsors of this project. We have a whole bunch of new sponsors, so we will start from here. Thank you to Sayandeep. Thank you to Choco, David, Thomas, Chris, Timothy, Azine, James, Pavel, Felipe, private sponsor number 1, Ramiel, Johan, Eli, Johan, another Johan, Cody, Nia, private sponsor number 2, Eber, Chris, Malco, Chris again, the return of Chris, Purian, Harold, Andy, PJHFGGIJ, Pyro, DM1681, Darian, Surefire, Kilroy, my boy, Evan, Alex, Solomon, and of course the OG sponsor, Hisayuki. Thank you all so much for your ongoing support, my friends. You too can become a sponsor, help us get to that 50 monthly sponsors goal. We are 70% there. Damn, I did not realize that. You can be a one-time sponsor, you can be a monthly sponsor. $5 a month, it makes a huge difference, but you can bring this all the way down to $1 a month if you're not able to contribute $5 a month. If you're not in a position, right, like that is fine, because the very, very next best thing that you can do, right, is you can head on over, you're already there, what am I saying? Just make sure you hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, because we are a fully monetized YouTube channel. We got our first $100 payout 2 months ago, and that took us like, I think 8 months. So maybe in like 6 months time, if you guys just keep watching and liking and commenting and watch as many of the ads as you can before you get fed up and click skip. I hope they're good ads. Like I wish I could tweak the ads to like interesting stuff, but I know they're not always interesting. But you know, every extra second you spend lingering on them, it helps the channel, it helps the project. It's a really cool, easy, passive way to financially support the project. All right, my friends, that was a video. That was a video that I recorded. It has been a while. I'm a little out of practice. I was traveling and then I got sick, and it's been like a month and a half since I did this. So it's good to be back. It is good to be back. I hope you all enjoy this video. Keep coming back. It's my favorite part of running this channel. Seeing all of you leave comments, leave likes, and then join the Discord after watching videos to ask more questions makes me very happy. It's definitely a highlight, a high point in my life. So on that note, my friends, I hope that whatever you all do today, you have a great day. Free Palestine, and I'll see you all back here next time.